I'm going to show you today how to bling out your junk journal a bit more. So this is part 3 on how to make a junk journal, and specifically we are going to be putting tabs on this one. Now I always suggest, if these are videos that you love, make sure that you share it out with your people, and also give this video a thumbs up. And you can subscribe as well if you're not a subscriber, and hit the notification button below so that you'll be notified when more videos like this one come out. So the first thing I did was I just pulled out some scraps of fabric. Now I've been asked by people, what do you do with your scraps of fabric, or how do you incorporate them into the junk journal? Well, here you go. I make tabs. So I just recently got into putting the tabs into the junk journals, but I love how they look and they feel. Now I'm only going to put a few in here at this time, but just know, as we start going through and putting more beautiful junk into these journals, you'll probably see some more tabs popping up from some scraps of fabric, because I just have tons of it. So what you'll see is the only thing that I'm doing is I'm folding these over. Now I did go and I just kind of roughly cut up a few pieces, but as you can see, they're not perfect by any means, and the only thing that I did to attach these was to use some staples. Now I am using this miniature stapler gun by Tim Holtz, but you can use a regular staple to do this as well. Now I wanted to keep this process as simple as possible, but if you do have a sewing machine, you can actually sew the tabs on as well. But I just wanted to do this in a quick and dirty kind of way. And so I just stapled these on. Now, it all depends on your taste as to how far out you want your tabs to stick out. Now, I didn't want mine to go out too much, but I do want to be able to see them. And so once I tested it, I was happy with how these tabs were coming out. And then you also want to kind of space them out. You can use cardstock for your tabs. You can use magazine pieces for your tabs. And of course, you can use ribbons or lace for your tabs as well. It just all depends on how you're feeling in the moment as to which pieces of material that you're going to use. Now, of course, I wanted to go just a little bit further than I normally do. Well, I can't say not normally, because normally I always go a little bit further. So I took out my buttons and I just poured a few out and resisted the urge to pour the whole thing out for this. And so I'm just kind of going through the buttons and trying to figure out like which colors I want to use, which ones I think would be well incorporated into this particular journal. Now, I knew that I wanted to put a little bit of that purple in, even though it's not in the cover itself, but I wanted it to kind of match that mixed media piece that I have in the beginning. So I went ahead and I picked out a purple. So now I'm just taking out some of my small kind of sample types of thread, and I'm just going to find one that kind of goes with everything. So, you know, brown and beige, it usually kind of goes with everything. Of course, I could have did some other complementary colors, but in this case, I thought that this would be okay to do this. Now, you can use just regular thread. You don't need anything spectacular when it comes to putting your buttons on, and you can even just glue those buttons on. So with the right glue, you can glue it right onto the fabric and it will stay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere mine with some thread, but again, it's no big deal, and it's no deal breaker if you don't. I do like it to look like it's actually a button on it, so even if I glued it, I would still probably run some thread through, tie it up, and then glue it onto the fabric. But in this case, again, we're just going to put it directly onto the tabs itself. And then I also left some overhang or some hanging threads, because if you've been watching any of my videos, then you know that I like stringage. I don't know why, but it's just something about those strings hanging out of the journal that I really love. So I decided to leave those on. So next I'm just pulling out a garment pin because I wanted to have just a little bit of a different look to things. I didn't want everything to have a button on it. So I took a garment pin and I put some smaller buttons on it just so it would have that dangling effect. And I like the way that came out as well. But I still felt like it really wasn't finished. I didn't feel like the tabs had a balance to it. I guess that's where things kind of look and feel very pretty and very nice, is when they have balance. So I didn't feel like the tabs had balance, but I just couldn't figure out what else to put on to that particular tab. So I just moved on because I knew I would, come back to it. And once I did that, I found a little scrap of lace from another project that I had, well, actually from this project, and I decided to adhere that to the tab. So I was going to use the garment pin, and then I decided to just use the staple and put it on, and it was perfect. That was the perfect piece to making this look just a little bit nicer. And then I went ahead and I put the garment pin on also. So yay, we have tabs on here. I love the tabs. I love those cloth tabs. And again, you can make them out of anything that you like. So now I had like these other little scrap pieces that I really couldn't do anything else with. They weren't really big enough to make paper clips with, and they weren't really big enough to do anything with, but I just didn't want to throw them away. So I decided to just glue them down onto my page. So I just took my trusty Elmer's glue stick and I just stuck it on the back of the fabric itself and adhered it directly to the pages. And I really love the way it came out. So I went through and I just glued, stick, glue. And also you can see that these fabrics are not matchy, and that's what I love about the bohemian look. It just has a style of its own, and I kind of just fell across that style myself, and I found that I'm really digging the bohemian look. Bet you're finding a new love for scraps now, aren't you? One more little piece, and this little work of art is kind of finished but not. I'm sure I'll be coming back to this page and revisiting it in another video. So you want to make sure you subscribe, because I'm also going to be posting up page processing videos as well, so you can see how we actually use this junk journal. So I decided to use this little patch here and make it into a pocket. So I'm just taking my Aleene's tacky glue and I'm just going to glue this directly on to this sheet. Now I love this tacky glue, and no, it's not a sponsored video, but it's kind of one of my go-to glues, and it sticks well to paper and fabrics, and so I don't have any problems with it. It's going to be a nice tight pocket once it gets all nice and dry. And I wanted to make sure it was at least partially dry before I close it up. But other than that, that pocket is pretty much on. Now what you could do again, if you have a sewing machine, or even you could hand sew it, you can use your sewing machine to kind of stitch around the edges. But I just wanted to just kind of give it that rough look, and I just put it down because this page again is nowhere near finished. So once I come back to it, you'll see how things kind of come to life. So I love the way this came out. So if you love videos like this, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think about these tutorials as well. And also, if you haven't subscribed already, then I would suggest that you do, and make sure you hit the notification button to be notified when more videos like this one come out. So with that, I'm going to say love, peace, and hair grease from your sweet lotus blossom and lovable Lizzie. Have a fantabulous day and enjoy life.